Welcome, everybody, to episode number 2 of our new series. Let's talk about
Yes.
episode 2. That means it's a thing now.
It's for real. It's a real thing. Nick and I and a couple of buddies are going to check out the new Martin Scorsese film, The Irishman, tonight. Really hyped on that. So we thought we'd kind of go back into his career and talk about one of his great films. There's a lot to choose from with Marty, but we're going to talk about Taxi Driver.
Ooh, I can hear that score now.
Gosh, so perfect.
Yeah.
Captures the vibe of 70s slimy New York.
Yeah. Bernard Herrmann.
Yes.
Just a stunning jazz score.
Yeah.
1976.
1976.
That's when the film came out. Obviously directed by Scorsese. What are your thoughts on the the Scorsese Marvel debacle going on?
I don't know.
It's a non-issue.
No, it's not. It's just something that he probably said real quick, and it's become a big story. Basically said he's not a big fan of superhero movies, which is fine.
Yeah.
I don't, if you like those are fine, but I haven't got too tied up in any of that.
No, I haven't. I read a lot, I hear a lot, and just some of the stuff people are saying, I think they completely misunderstood what he was saying.
I just like film, man.
Yeah,
It
just
doesn't
like film.
matter. Yeah.
The main issue, I think, is, and this could have been an issue back in the day, with this film, if it was a thing, is that you get these big budget films that take up 95% of all the theaters in a specific theater. There's no room for the little guys.
Right.
So I'm glad that he gave his opinion, but the guy's moved on.
Yeah.
He's moved on and nobody else has.
Yeah, and it's whatever. Like I said,
Yeah.
I read about it. Didn't mean much to me. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever. People are going to see those regardless of what anyone says. So
Right.
we wanted to talk about Taxi Driver today.
Yes.
I love the film. You love the film.
I do love the film, yeah.
As I previously said, Martin's filmography is like so impressive.
It's incredible, especially he's the age he is now and still churning out not only films but good films.
I mean, I know it's a subjective thing, but if you're talking about like a Mount Rushmore of filmmakers, I don't know how you could possibly leave Martin Scorsese off of it.
He was part of that pack of directors that came up around the same time: Scorsese, De Palma, Spielberg, Lucas, and somebody else. I'm completely blanking. But I mean, those are some primo directors, and I think that Scorsese's one that has just always been quality. A lot of those guys have made clunkers in their career, but Scorsese's kind of stayed consistent throughout his whole career.
Yeah, I mean, you can maybe find a couple of Martin films that people don't think of highly as like Goodfellas or something, but I like most of his stuff. I mean, even things like After Hours, which I think is an amazing film. That's an amazing Scorsese film that nobody's seen. So check out After Hours if you don't know anything about that. But I definitely think Taxi Driver is one of his easiest to digest and to take in, especially if you're someone who has not watched like a Goodfellas, or you're maybe a little bit put off by that runtime and that sort of subject material. Taxi Driver is really easy. It's really easy to get into.
Yeah. Written by Paul Schrader, who's actually gone on to do his own films. He's done Mishima. He's done First Reformed a couple years ago, which I love.
I love First Reformed too, and if you watch that after you see Taxi Driver, you can definitely tell they were written by the same guy.
Yeah, it's
a lot of similar elements.
Yeah, they deal with mental illness and just kind of messed up people in messed up situations.
Right.
You have a lot of people in this movie early in their career. Yeah. You've got obviously De Niro, Sybil Shepherd, you got Albert Brooks, Peter Boyle.
Yeah, Peter Boyle, who I think was born bald. I think he just was born with the gene that was never going to allow. I would love to see a picture of Peter Boyle with hair, because I don't think the guy's ever had it.
I question people that are bald up here and leave the hair around here.
Yeah.
The only person that can pull that off is maybe like
Hulk Hogan.
I was thinking more of Danny DeVito, but
a lot of people in this movie.
You've also got Jodie Foster,
yes,
who I think she won an Oscar for this.
Yeah, she did.
Incredible performance for I want to say like 13 or 14.
Yeah, she was young.
She was great in this.
Brief synopsis if people haven't seen it before.
Yeah. It's a little hard to explain. It's kind of it's a Vietnam vet. He's kind of a loner. And he takes a job as a taxi driver. I think he does it mostly to keep his mind at ease, because he's got some dark thoughts.
Yeah, you can tell pretty much right from the get-go with this film that something is not totally right about Travis Bickle, and
he thinks he's wronged by society.
Yeah,
he's just trying to find something to keep his mind busy.
Right,
because, like I said, he's got some dark thoughts, and it's dark.
It is. It is It's a very dark film.
He does a lot of driving around. He goes to porno theaters.
Yeah.
One thing that I noticed about one of the theaters is I think the first time he goes into one, the porn is like censored out. It's like blurred out.
I mean, this is the 70s. You know, New York City in that time is not what we know as New York City today. Right. Like, you know, really, there were some dirty parts of New York City. In this film, I mean, right off the get-go, when you see Travis driving through these streets and there's just like pimps and
it's fucking dirty.
Druggies on the road,
trash bags.
Yeah, it really makes New York look like that cesspool that it was, which is also like a big theme of the film. I mean, he even goes into a dialogue about cleaning up the filth off the streets.
Yeah,
and
with
scum
the presidential candidate that he's
right
kind of working to get elected.
Yeah,
but even so, the cinematography, it still makes that city beautiful.
Amazing.
The lights, the music helps too, but it's a testament to the cinematography that they're able to make it look as good.
Let me ask you, what is your history with this film? When did you see it for the first time?
Oh, God. Maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Okay. It definitely was not one I grew up with.
I was going to say the same thing. I mean, I was kind of late to this film. I was, when I started collecting Blu-rays is when I watch this for the first time because they put out that set, which is, I mean, it's just like a Blu-ray, but it's very different from a lot of like Blu-ray releases. It's almost like
there's like postcards in there. And stuff.
It was an odd release and it was always really cheap. So that's when I bought it for the first time, and I, like you said, maybe 5-6 years ago, maybe probably like 6 years ago, but
I didn't love it the first time. I guess I didn't appreciate it.
See, I'm different. This was one that first time I watched, I was blown away by it.
Yeah,
blown away by it.
Not to say it was bad, but it's like a fine wine.
Right.
The more you watch, the more little pieces you pick up on. Yeah. And this may not make sense, but I love a movie where there's a mission, and as things go on and progress, something else happens. Okay, like for example, we're probably going to start getting into spoilers here. So,
this is going to be a spoiler discussion, as with any of these episodes we do.
Right. So it kind of goes on, begins with him he wants to do something in a sense. He wants to make a big splash or make a scene. He initially wants to assassinate this presidential candidate. Yeah. Until he meets Jodie Foster.
Right.
Then it becomes almost like a vigilante mission.
Yeah. The movie totally, like, if you're watching it for the first time, I don't think you're going to know where it's going to end up.
No, you don't.
Because it starts as like almost like this love thing with him and Sybil Shepherd, that's her name, right?
Yeah.
That's
who is a babe in this film.
Yes. But that's kind of where the first half of the film is centered towards. Like, he almost kind of stalks her inside of this like rally place that she's working for this guy. And it's really kind of weird, and she eventually, he gains her trust and they go out, but it almost seems like that's going to be the plot of the film.
Yeah. And it kind of goes step by step in these different plot elements. It starts there. It starts with him wanting to assassinate the guy, and then when he meets Jodie, he wants to get her off the street, and he starts to find his moral compass again.
Yes.
He starts to have a purpose, I guess.
Right.
Because, like you said, he meets up with Sybil, takes her to a porno theater.
Yes.
She doesn't like that. I mean, obviously. He's got no sensibility.
No.
He really has no clue about how other people, like, how to function properly.
He was actually doing good with her up until that point.
Yeah, which was...
He takes her to that dirty theater around there.
Yeah.
She wasn't into it.
She leaves him, and that's when he starts to kind of go with the woe is me, society's against me. So he's like, let's fucking do this.
Yeah. And there's actually a part earlier in the film where Travis is, doing his cab run or whatever, and Jodie Foster's character, you see her earlier. She hops into the back of his cab real quick, and she's like, come on, take me out of here.
Yeah.
He can't get away quick enough. She's pulled out by her pimp or whatever.
Yeah.
So they kind of plant that element, early on in the film. You know that something's going to happen with that character, and then he sees her a few times as he's driving throughout the city.
Yeah. It's interesting, too, because even though he is the way he is, he's he just has no, he doesn't care. He's got no responsibilities or prejudices. There's that scene where he's talking about how, you know, a lot of cab drivers don't pick up black guys, and he's just like, I just don't care. I pick up whoever, I do what I can. Right. And
it is such a fascinating character. Travis Bickle is like one of the most intriguing and like deep characters I've seen in a movie. I mean, obviously I haven't seen everything, but it's a character that always sticks with me. And when you're thinking of like the most complex and strange characters, you're trying to figure out what's going on in this guy's head. He's obviously got issues, you know?
Yeah, he's obviously reactionary.
Yeah.
He's just an incredible character to kind of follow on his journey. Couple Scorsese cameos.
Yes, great thing. He does great in this movie.
Yeah, well, there's the first slight one where he's sitting on the little wall when Sybil walks into the building.
Yep.
And then there's his Magnum.
Yes.
His Magnum spiel.
Yeah, great dialogue. He's sitting in the back seat as a passenger, and you know he's scoping at his wife who cheated on him. You know, it's an interesting part of the film.
Not only cheated on him, but this kind of gets into like part of the social issues with class and everything. But she cheated on him with a black guy.
Yeah.
Which I think that's more disgusting to him than just cheating on him.
And it's a product of the time, you know, to have that element in the film.
But then it's just interesting because you've gotten to know Travis, and you see this guy, and you see what crazy really is. Like,
right.
Who's crazier?
Yeah. And the weird thing about this movie is, like, you don't, like, is Travis, I mean, do you sympathize with him, or do you think, like, he's a dirtbag?
He's kind of an anti-hero.
Yeah, it's very weird, because there's parts of the film where you think, God, this, you know, I mean, he's nuts. You don't want anything to do with him. And there's other parts when you can kind of see that, you know, there is some human element to him.
Honestly, it's kind of crazy. I know that there are a lot of comparisons to Joker with this film.
Yeah.
Watching this, there's quite a bit. There's a scene where Travis is like, all I have are bad thoughts.
Right.
I mean, that's in Joker. He's an outcast within work peers.
Right.
That's kind of how it is in Joker. He follows around a girl in Joker.
Yeah.
I mean, some similarities are crazy. Great music.
Yeah.
But
and Taxi Driver is one of those films where different people have different interpretations on it. I've always thought, you know, that he was just like bored with life and what's going on.
Yeah.
And the Jodie Foster character kind of gives him like a purpose too.
And
you know, she's a prostitute. I don't know if we've talked about this. A very young prostitute in this film.
And her pimp is
Harvey Keitel. Yeah.
Which is another guy that's weird with hair.
Yeah, and I mean, it just really shows you the dirt of New York City at this time. But this young girl's flaunting around. She's really dressed scantily clad, and I think that gives like Travis a purpose to kind of try and get her out of that lifestyle.
But it says a lot about her acting in this movie because she's very charming.
Yeah.
And you don't want to see this happen to her, obviously. Right. And obviously Travis doesn't either. So he starts to follow her around, and when his plot to assassinate the political figure falls through, he's like, okay, I'm going to do something good.
Yeah.
And he goes after the pimp.
Right.
It's crazy to me that I'm going to bring up Joker again because the big ordeal with that film, is it going to inspire a shooter? Is it it's too violent? While there are some pretty rough things in that film, this one's pretty gnarly as far as violence.
And I mean, you don't really get a whole lot of that until the end.
No.
I mean, it's kind of a slow movie. It's a very slow burn. Just before we get to that. Though. Yeah. My favorite parts of this film are always when he's at that cafeteria with like the fellow cab drivers.
Yes.
And they're kind of coming together and talking about how kind of like a depressing life it is to work as like a late night cab driver. And I think that
all those things you see.
I think that those are a couple of the best parts of the film, that gathering point. And then there's the last time that you see that, and he's there with Peter Boyle's character, and they go outside, and there's like this menacing dark light, or like this red light, and he says something about how he's thinking about doing something bad. He
always has bad thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, that's really like, I don't know, I always love that part of the film. It really kind of shows you where he's at.
Yeah. There's a lot of subtle humor to this movie too.
Yeah.
There's the scene where he where he comes in to ask Sybil Shepherd on a date. And if you notice, I mean, Albert Brooks is a funny man. I think he's a comedian. Every shot, he's peeking around the corner to see how the conversation is going.
Yeah.
He's always creeping around, and then at the end of the conversation, he's like in the back. There's like a post here,
right.
and you can see him peeking out.
Yeah, yeah.
Just him, Albert Brooks, and Sybil Shepherd. They're back and forth, this comedic, which kind of balances out violence. I do want to get back to the violence in the end because I forgot about some of the stuff.
That last, what would you say, 20 minutes?
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, my God. I remember watching that for the first time, and you kind of think, okay, I get what this movie's doing, but then the last 20 minutes hits, and I mean, it's intense.
It's a climax that really ties the movie together.
Right.
Basically, what happens is he busts into Harvey Keitel's place, shoots him.
Gets him right in the gut, man.
He gets him right in the gut, and what I like is kind of the realistic reaction he has.
Yeah.
He kind of stops, goes and sits down on a stoop, and kind of thinks about what he did.
Right, right.
I've
always liked that too. It's like, okay, now he's committed. From there, he's already fucked up, so he's got to go through with what he had planned.
So he decides to go in and get Jody, and on the way, he shoots a guy's hand pretty much clean off.
So shocking when you watch that.
Truly shocking and disturbing. And then Harvey is still alive. He shoots him a couple times, and I mean, it's so intense.
It is.
Because not only is he trying to avoid this other guy, but he's got the guy with no hand trying to beat him up, and it's kind of stops you a little bit.
And then, of course, the last shot of that sequence when he's killed everybody, Jodie Foster's character's in the room, De Niro's all bloodied up, he's been fucked up, and the cops come in, De Niro's sitting there bleeding, and, he almost is just like,
just do it.
Yeah, he's done at that point.
Yeah. I do want to talk about real quick that shot, the overhead shot.
Right.
Watching it this most recent time, it really told me that film is an art form. You see something like that where the cops are just sitting there, everybody's stopped and frozen. You think, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
But you almost think of it as an art piece.
Yeah, it's like looking at a gallery or something.
Looking at a gallery, a gallery of a certain scene.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciated.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, it's always been a controversial thing with that film. I know when I watched that for the first time, after that shot, that overhead shot, I thought that was going to be the end of the movie.
Uh-huh.
And then, it kind of goes on for another 5-6 minutes or something like that. But you find out that he lived. Because you would assume when you're watching this, there's no way Travis Bickle survives this.
Yeah.
But then we find out that he lived, and we kind of get a shot of this letter that Jodie Foster's parents have written to him for, helping save his daughter. And then we find out that, months have passed or whatever, weeks, and Travis is back to driving. And I've always kind of wondered, is that last part of the film, are we seeing what's really happening, or is it almost like some sort of dreamlike state, where he really did die at the end of that thing? And
it's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know. It's always intrigued me, even the first time I watched it.
I would like to think he died.
Yeah.
And that's just an imagination or a fantasy or something.
I used to think that until watching it like multiple times since, and it does seem like that's reality at the end. His neck's taped up or whatever. He's got the battle wounds, and he's still talking to Peter Boyle. It's just it's very odd. I've always kind of been indifferent about how that film ends. I mean, I love the movie, but it's just a strange ending, I think.
But then it makes you think, is he normal now?
Right. I mean.
Is he gonna try something else again?
Yeah, it's like he saved Jodie Foster's character, but that doesn't cure him of all his issues.
Does Sybil Shepherd turn him on to another mental breakdown?
Yeah, I mean, is he gonna find some other child prostitute to protect? I mean, it's really, I think that's what makes the film so great, is that it's kind of an open ending, and there's that last shot of the film when it kind of zooms in real quick to him looking up in the rearview mirror, and you almost can see that glimpse of insanity that still is kind of going on with the character. So It's a very unsettling ending. I don't know. I really dig it, though.
Yeah, and you could look at it like, oh, she's in the rearview mirror, so her involvement in his life is in the past.
Right.
But yeah, I mean that's what is great. It doesn't really answer anything. It leaves it to your interpretation.
They should do a sequel where he's driving Uber now.
Great.
Travis Bickle,
Uber driver.
Travis Bickle at 80 years old, still in New York, driving Uber.
No.
We talked about that. Bernard Herrmann's score. Oh my God.
Amazing.
If you're asking me to compile like my top 5 favorite scores, this would be in there. No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, just a beautiful jazz score that encompasses the seedy New York life.
So good.
I mean, this film has been homaged and parodied to death.
Yeah.
There's iconic scenes. There's the "You Talking to Me."
Right.
He's even got like the wrist gun, which Tarantino would use in Django Unchained.
Yeah.
There's just a lot to this film, and I think a lot of it's peak filmmaking, and it's just kind of what every person who makes movies wishes they could make.
Right, and I love Scorsese. I love Goodfellas and all that, but I think this might be my favorite Martin Scorsese film. I mean,
I agree.
Certainly not it's totally different than like Goodfellas or the stuff that he went on to do, but I think this is like the one that I could always go back to easy. Goodfellas, I couldn't watch that I've got to be in a mood to watch that. It's an amazing film, but Taxi Driver, I feel like I could watch, all the time. It's something else, but it's a great film.
It's a stunning movie from a stunning director. I'm excited to check out The Irishman tonight and see what that's all about. Yeah. And Scorsese's got a shit ton of movies lined up for the rest of his life, honestly, because he's pushing up in the age, but he's got lots of things planned.
I always get excited when you hear his name because he's truly one of the greatest. Yeah. And anything he does, I'm going to check out.
Yeah. Like we're gonna do right now.
Yeah.
So let us know your thoughts on I almost said The Irishman. Let us know your thoughts on Taxi Driver down below. Do you love it? Do you hate Scorsese because he hates Marvel movies?
No.
Just let's have a Discord. Let's talk. Let's analyze the film, shall we?
And give us some future suggestions for episodes of this series because they're fun to just sit down, turn the camera on, and kind of bullshit back and forth about films. So
yeah, love it.
Yeah.
So. Thank you guys, as always, for watching. See you next time.
See ya.